Portfolio Builders Club. This is the Money Over Politics edition. As you know, in the United States, we have the elections coming up next week for the United States president. And regardless of who wins the election, we're still going to be living our day-to-day lives. We're still going to be looking at the markets. We're still going to be looking at ways to build our portfolios. So all we're going to do is look for whatever opportunities are presented to us and see where we can go with that. So one opportunity is Donald Trump Technologies, or DJT, or Trump Media and Technology. DJT, it seems to be his initials, Donald J. Trump, but it's Trump Media and Technology Group. And what we've seen is there's been a run-up, prior to the election. We've had a run-up since we hit these previous major lows here. We've had a run-up of about, over 300%. And now we're experiencing a major pullback just before the elections here. So, but we have pulled back into this 25-day, 100-day, 200-day moving average zone. So we expect, if there's going to be support, that we start to see that support build up in the next couple of days. So, but, with the election, you never know how volatile things may get and that sort of thing. But we'll have to keep an eye on that. If it gets below, let's say, about $25, we'd expect that it probably will just continue to the downside. But what you have here is the typical, what they say, buy the rumors, sell the news. So, prior to an event happening, you have this major run up on the rumors of things happening. And then when the news hits, typically you have like a sell off, people taking profit who've made 300%. That's a lot to make and not take some profit on that, and even folks associated with this organization, if the price gets up to $50 like this, maybe they're taking advantage of it as well and taking some profit off the table as well. So, but at any rate, as we move closer to the election day and get the final results and that sort of thing, we'll sort of see where this goes. But as an organization, it's not very strong from a financial standpoint, even though it does have a $6.2 billion market cap. As we look at our financials over here, like this green line indicates like negative income. So they're not making any money, as an organization. So I really wouldn't anticipate much for the organization, from a fundamental standpoint, but from a speculative standpoint and it representing the election and that sort of thing, that's where folks are just using it as an opportunity to, have some sort of gains on this particular stock. So we'll continue to watch this. It'll be interesting to see really what happens after the election or during the election with this particular stock, whether it continues to go up and skyrocket or not. But again, we'd be looking for it to cross over this kind of trend line to sort of indicate that price is even trying to go up. Right now, price is going down. And if it remains below this trend line, then it's just going down. If it goes above the kind of trend line and gets above the 25-day moving average, then you can start to look at, there's a potential that it could turn positive at that particular point. So with the elections coming up in the United States, we'll just take a look at the SPY. And we've seen a pullback in the last couple of days, with the SPY as well. So the idea here is, will this turn around, and is this considered a discount price? It seems that, price is, below the 25, definitely closer to the 100 though. And definitely if it goes below the 100 EMA level, that's where we consider this a discounted price. So, it is headed into a discounted price area. So we'll have to see what happens. But with the elections, it's just going to be hard to predict or even figure out what the probabilities may be once that election hits. Now, of course, SPY is only open or traded really during the day and maybe some extended hours, but the ES for futures is traded, 24/7. So during the, not 24/7, but during the week it's open 23 hours. So during the election, we should be able to see what's happening with the ES, and that'll indicate where the SPY is going to go. The ES will probably react to whatever's happening with the election. If they can determine who's leading and that sort of thing, then, you're going to see a lot of reaction, if there's getting close to a final decision as to who the next president will be. So, speaking of that, we'll just jump right into the Max 7, which really influenced a lot of the SPY and the NQ and TQQ and some of those other things. But so just as a question, though, we'll look at NVIDIA as an example. if you are long NVIDIA, so let's say you have leaps for 1 year, 2 years out, and so you're definitely long on NVIDIA, would you, because of the election and other news events, would you go ahead and buy short-term puts against your long-term positions, basically as insurance, so that if price does dip down for a week or two, you could capitalize on that drop and make some profit on the puts that you would have, even though you're risking the premium if, let's say, price skyrockets after the election or whatever, but you'd be risking the premium, but it's more of an insurance thing to say, okay, if somehow the market kind of takes a nice dip or turnaround for a week or whatever, I'll be able to at least recover some additional funds out of the market in that situation. But I'd like to know your opinion really on that kind of position, where you have a long-term position, whether it's a stock position or long-term leap position, and would you buy puts against those positions just as insurance? So I appreciate your comments. If you could add your comments, that'd be interesting to know what your thoughts are on that. All right, we'll jump into the rest of the Mag 7 plus Netflix. So looking at Amazon did push up back to the highs around 200 here, the recent high here. So that's looking pretty good. And again, we were always looking for average price. We were, thinking that the price would eventually push up to here. But the idea is we're looking at the average price. And so, day to day, we don't know if it's going to go down or up or just what it's going to do. But from an average, it is to tend to move at an average price. And we can tell where there's sort of like discounts in that price as well. Jumping over to Microsoft. Microsoft has taken a major dip down to the 200-day moving average here. But the thing that's interesting about this is that the 200-day moving average in recent history has proven to be a discount price. So as price went below the 200 here, that was a discount. Below the 200 here, discount. Same thing here. And now here we are again. Now the difference between those positions and this one is that these sort of gradually came down, but this is a pretty major drop here. So we'll have to see if this is going to recover anytime soon. But, again, this appears to be a discount price. All right, we'll jump over to Google. So Google did have a push on earnings, and now it's starting to pull back. And we have, again, another counter trend line to indicate if price stays below that, then we'll continue to the downside. If it flips over that counter trend line, then we can anticipate that there's some support that's happening, and we'll have to continue to look and see if it's still above the 25-day moving average to see if it's going to go ahead and push up or not. So we'll continue to watch Google. Netflix did push up past our profit target 2 of 740, and now our next profit target is going to be 794, around $800. So we'll continue to watch that to see how that transpires. So looking pretty good for Netflix. And Netflix, you can never really count Netflix out. I know they always have competition and different things like that, but Netflix always seems to be a resilient company that always comes back and just comes roaring back and doing even more than what they did before. So people love the Netflix service. All right, jumping into Meta. So with Meta, we've definitely continued on our uptrend. Again, looking at the average price, and as we see anything really below this 25, and between that and that 100, maybe the 200 is still a good discount price for a push back up to the upside. But we'll have to watch this one just to see, again, with the elections coming up, there's no telling how much volatility we're going to run into. All right, Tesla, same thing with Tesla. Has had a nice little push up, but we have another counter trend line being drawn in. As long as price stays below that, there's no real reason to look for the price to go long at all until it breaks this counter trend line. And if it remains above the 25-day moving average, that's when we would expect or look to see if it was going to go long. All right, and then we'll jump right over here to Apple. So Apple did pull back to the 100-day moving average. Looking at some history there, that does seem like a discount price near the 100-day moving average for this. But again, counter trend line to sort of indicate whether or not we think that we've found that support and pushed up against that support. But we'll have to watch how it performs around this 100-day moving average just to see where it goes from here. Again, with the election coming up, it's going to be hard to contend with. So, All right, so that's it for the Mag 7 in the market update in the Money Over Politics edition. So hopefully you'll be glued to the television, I guess, to see how the election turns out, and then you'll continue with the market as the conditions play out, So and enjoy next week, and we will see how the markets turn out.